Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this special transmission on PTV World. I am Omar, Khalid, but joining me is
Maheen, Jafri. Well, I'm so glad to be here. This is a joyous occasion because today we are celebrating the 59th anniversary of PTV. And of course, when we talk about PTV, Omar, it's just not a channel. We are talking about an institute here. We are talking about the memories that we have. And also there's this imprint that we have on our soul, on our minds. I think our personalities are shaped with the childhood memories. And of course, when we talk about PTV, we are also talking about the ethical standards, Umar, that it has set for the other channels because it is taking the lead. And today we have got amazing guests with us and you're going to enjoy this show.
I am sure that our audience is going to enjoy the show. The fact remains, as Maheen very ably pointed out, 59 years of Pakistan television, that is an institution, continues to be an institution with the plethora of channels that it provides under its ambit, starting just with PTV, which has now become PTV Home and PTV News. It has kind of bifurcated, and PTV World, the English language channel where we are currently sitting, and so many other channels, PTV Sports, PTV Bolan, and more channels that cater to different audience and different niches. And that is what is most important about Pakistan television. Not only does it adhere to different sects and different segments of people in the society in Pakistan all across the world, but what it also does is it caters to a certain level as far as its education, its information and its entertainment is concerned. We have always held certain levels since we began on this very auspicious day in 1964, and we are now in 2023 and we continue to uphold the same levels of respect, the same levels of programming and the same levels of news production. We've been joined by three important guests in this first part of our transmission. Let me introduce them to you one by one. They are faces who you might remember very well, still continue to watch on PTV screens, and of course there's a new face as well. So let me introduce them to you one by one. On my very right is Tauseeq Haider. Tauseeq, we have many memories, but we will discuss a bit late. Tauseeq Haider, a legend from Pakistan television.
Indeed.
Very, very renowned anchor person, multilingual, and the way you grasp at things during live shows and during transmissions is something that I look forward to.
A born storyteller, I must say.
Thank you very much, Maheen and Omar. It's a great honor for me to be here. Thank you very much.
No, the pleasure is all ours. Khawaja Najam Hassan is our second guest. Khawaja Saab, I can call my guru, my professor. When I began in Pakistan television, he was the one who molded me on how to host shows in Urdu, and it is thanks to him that I have hosted shows for princes, for dignitaries at the presidency and at the Prime Minister's house, and he's been a guiding light for me.
So he's a source.
Oh, wow. he is the source of light for so many others, including Tauseeq.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Khawaja Saab, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's almost 59th anniversary, and it's going to be 50 years in television for me.
Wonderful, you know, 50 years is is half a century.
And touch wood, I'm still working.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
That is wonderful. Our last guest is Rabel Hina. Rabel does the morning show, a segment of the morning show with Tauseeq Haider.
Yes.
Rabel, when I was talking to you before the show began, you gave me a little bit of what you're doing. You're doing your master's in business administration and you've done a bachelor's in journalism and media studies.
Journalism.
So more or less somebody from the same field who's being
exactly
molded by Tauseeq Haider
exactly,
through his show.
Yes, so it's truly an honor to share the show with two of the most, I would say, most experienced and iconic legends, and obviously my own gurus as well. It's truly an honor. Thank you so much for having me here.
The pleasure is all ours, and you know, it's always interesting in retrospect when you look at all these people who have contributed so much to Pakistan television. But before we go into details, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a little look through this report on the journey that Pakistan television has had.
Pakistan Television Corporation, which started its first transmission on 26th of November in 1964, has turned 59.
Assalamu alaikum. Pakistan Television Service की जानिब से तारिक अजीज आपसे मुखातिब है. खबर की मुखबरात आज जुमेरात है और नवंबर की 26 तारीख.
The national broadcaster has flourished and evolved magnanimously in technological and broadcasting and connectivity domains since 1964. The versatile centers of PTV in Islamabad, Lahore, Karachi, Peshawar, Quetta, Muzaffarabad, Azad Jammu and Kashmir and Multan have been enlightening as well as educating the 92% of the population in Pakistan for decades. When PTV was first incepted, it was a small pilot TV station established in Lahore from where the first black and white transmission was beamed. Now Pakistan Television, with its largest terrestrial infrastructure in the country, has 9 TV channels, including PTV Home, PTV News, PTV World, PTV Sports, PTV Global, PTV Bolan, PTV National, PTV Parliament and Azad Jammu and Kashmir TV. The launch of the entertainment industry of the PTV network gave the masses of Pakistan new, colourful, enlightened and dynamic routines and activities, as well as broadened their horizon of thoughts and perspectives. The entertainment programs, which were engaging and addressing the diverse cultures makeup of the society, produced many gems and explored countless talents who proved to be legends of Pakistan's entertainment industry, including Abid Ali, Talat Hussain,
पहचान लिया। अब ये बताओ पैसे कितने लोगे?
किस बात के?
उस लड़की का डिफेंस छोड़ने के। वो एक मामूली लड़की है।
देखिए, वो आपके नजदीक मामूली लड़की होगी, मेरे नजदीक वो आपकी बेटी की तरह किसी की बेटी है।
जानते हो, फूल हमारे जज्बात की तर्जुमानी करते हैं। फूल
Mahmood Aslam,
सफीर होते हैं। इन्हें ताजा इस्तेमाल करो, बासी करो, अर्क निकाल लो या इत्र। ये कभी एहतजाज नहीं करते।
कॉलेज जाना छोड़ दिया और मुझे ये बताने में कोई नदामत महसूस नहीं होती कि मेरा बाप एक गरीब पोस्ट मास्टर है।
Asif Raza Mir,
उसकी तनख्वाह पर मेरी फीसें इस तरह गिरती हैं जैसे खरबूजे पर छुरी।
Sohail Ahmed, Rahat Shah Kazmi,
रात यूं दिल में तेरी खोई हुई याद आई, जैसे वीराने में चुपके से बाहर आ जाए, जैसे सहराओं में हौले से चले बातें नसीम, जैसे बीमार को बेवजह करार आ जाए।
समझ नहीं रहा आप बात को? मैं तो
Jamshed Ansari,
पिस्तौल लेकर जाऊंगा। छोड़ो ना मुझको, क्या मुझे मार डालोगे?
क्या कहूँ मैं?
कहिए बहुत अच्छी।
Latif Kapadia,
चलिए
चलिए।
नहीं, कहाँ जा रहे? आपका इंटरव्यू हो रहा है।
Sahira Kazmi,
दी अपनी खड़ी थे
Ruhi Bano,
यारा तो खलोती हुई सी ते लोकां तो वक्त पुछदी रहिंदी हुंदी सी।
तारीख
Usman Gilani and many more.
पर जाओ, शायद नादिर का कोई पैगाम है।
The legendary writing, productions and directions of Pakistan Television Network remained and are still the heartthrob of the masses regardless of their gender, community and age groups. The entertaining gems like Marvi, Nijat, Dhoop Kinare, Tanhaiyan,
दिल दरिया
Andhera Ujala,
ढूंढूंगे अति कौन दिलां दियां जाने।
कान खोल कर सुन ले सोने मियां।
अब्बास अली खान साहब बुला रहे हैं।
Sona Chandi,
चांदी दीदी आपको भी बड़ी बेगम साहिबा याद फरमा रही है। सुन ले, तुझे बुला रहे हैं, मुझे याद फरमा रहे हैं, फर्क देख ले।
Ankahi, Varis, 50-50,
24 घंटे वही मुराद बने रहते हो। मेरा बच्चा रो रो के 1.5 घंटे से हलकान हो गया इधर।
Khuda Ki Basti, Alif Noon,
एक पैसा उधार नहीं दूंगी,
Anand
चाहे
Tehra,
कुछ कर ले।
नहीं ना, भाई महबूब।
क्या लग रहा है भाई महबूब?
Anch,
2 बजे तो नहीं,
चलिए 2 बजे ना सही, 1:45 बजे से।
मुझे अपने वकील के पास जाना था और वहाँ से हम किसी और जगह चले गए, इसलिए इतनी देर हुई।
Roshni,
डॉक्टर
Shabdeg,
डॉक्टर डॉक्टर फिरोजी, तुम्हें कबूल है?
कबूल है।
कबूल है।
आप ऊंचा सुनते हैं, मैंने कह जो दिया कबूल है।
Guest House,
आप उनके घर में उग्रवादी घुसावे।
Lag,
आपको किस पता चला? मैं पहली बार आया यहाँ।
Alpha Bravo Charlie,
जो अभी अबाउट वाली हरकत आपने की है ना, ये कोई ऐसे ही आदमी कर सकता है। मेरे शौक दा नहीं एतबार
संगीत बहार, झनकार, शान गजल, साइंस क्लब, कलियों की माला, गुड़िया घर, कहावत कहानी, शब बखैर नन्हे दोस्तों, बच्चों की कहानी were highlighting many social issues as well as providing their viewers with a roller coaster of emotional experiences. Moreover, the legendary singers like Nurjahan, Abida Parveen, Mehdi Hassan,
जिनसे मिला मेरे दिल को चैन कोई जाने ना क्यों मुझसे शर्मा सब तो सोया
Tasawwur Khanum,
मैं तेरी हो गई प्यार विच खो गई सब मेरा बाबू छेल छबीला मैं तू नाचूंगी
Runa Laila,
हो मेरा बलमा रंग रंगीला मैं तू नाचूंगी कभी हम
Nayyara Noor,
खूबसूरत थे कभी हम खूबसूरत थे किताबों में बसी खुशबू की मानिंद वो इश्क जो हमसे रूठ गया
Farida Khanum,
उसका हाल बता
Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, and Amanat Ali are still soothing the souls of many. Scripts written by legendary writers like Hasina Moin, Noorul Huda Shah, Asghar Nadeem Sayyid, Munnu Bhai, Fatima Suraya Bajia, Amjad Islam Amjad, Shaukat Siddiqui, Kamal Ahmed Rizvi, and many more were the epic representation of Pakistani people, providing wholesome entertainment, inculcating awareness regarding our history, heritage, social problems and their respective solutions, as well as providing knowledge of the world at large. Deserving special mention here are the daily programs of Tilawat and Tarjuma of the Holy Quran. As the world's media industry is progressing at fast and exponential pace in the technological domains, PTV has always kept its tradition to adopt and indigenize every advancement, and the team of Pakistan Television comes with ideas that open whole new vistas of creativity, and this is the tradition due to which can never be replaced by any private entity in this era of media boom.
What a beautiful package, what a heartwarming journey. We have all been seeing this, we've all been learning through these beautiful faces, the legends, the music, the dialogue delivery, just not that, but PTV since its inception had an idea of national integration. It also had a vision, and we just not only can learn from the legends who have passed away, but also the living legends, and we are so lucky that we are joined here today by living legends. Of course, Omar gave you the introduction. Tauseeq, will be turning over to you, and my question would be a little unconventional. When we take your name, we talk about a brand. We don't just take a name. And you know, the stresses, the pauses, the tonality, the pitch of your voice, where you have to stop, the way you say your lines, we're already in imagination somewhere. So how can we be you?
Well, thank you very much. You made me speechless, Maheen. Thank you very much for such a, it's not a question, it's a sentence of appreciation for me. And I'm so very grateful. But I think this all comes from the childhood. The family I belong from has been into literature, storytelling, radio broadcasting. My father, my uncle, my elder sister, they have all been great broadcasters and writers for Radio Pakistan. So maybe that is what came in genes and in my DNA.
Wow,
and also for the fact that at the age of 5 and 6, I started telling stories at school. Oh. So I've been a school storyteller. So I think that storytelling, which now is there in my work behind the cameras as well as a documentary filmmaker, and also when I conduct shows and host shows like you do, I think that storytelling germ is there in me, and that also you know, asks me to bring to my audiences friends and guests who have great stories. I think it's immensely important for a TV show host to or a TV channel or a TV screen to tell story, be it drama, be it I think sports is also a story. Exactly. Look at the World Cup final played at Ahmedabad in India last week. I think it's a story to tell. Look at Fakhr Zaman's 200 inning. I think that's a story to tell. So the visual medium is a story, and be it a TikToker who makes a story of 60 seconds, I think they are doing an amazing, great job. So I think the storytelling ingredient in you as a broadcaster, as a TV show host, as a filmmaker, as a TV director, that is immensely, immensely important, and that is exactly what was there in me as a child, and now I'm there as a TV show host.
Wow. That is wonderful. I think this is something that doesn't come to everybody. This is either you have it or you don't. And you, I think, with the genes that you've had and with the upbringing that you've had, they have contributed a lot towards who you are today, and also
because of my
like him,
mentors like Khawaja Sahab. Yeah.
Let's come to Khawaja Sahab. Khawaja Sahab, storytelling. This is what Tauseeq pointed towards. How important is storytelling when you see a program, when you direct a program, when you see a script for any drama, series or serial? How important is the whole conception? How important is that storytelling aspect of it all?
Actually, I am a director and a trainer at the same time, because I was in the academy, Shoaib Mansoor and myself, for 10 years. And then I later on, because with the help of my students or the trainees, I conceived a play called Tansen. So it was done absolutely with them, and it was all outdoors, cutting back and forth in times. This was, and it became very popular.
Quite an experiment in those times.
In those times, yes.
Asif Raza Mir and Zeba Bakhtiyar.
Asif and Zeba, yes. And then, of course, I did Tarannum. I did lots of other things. It's almost 50 years now, and I'm still doing it. I was doing Traveling Tunes of Pakistan, which I traveled from Pak-China border up till the Silk Route. And then, of course, the movie show. And now, it's basically PTV's and film division of television. We are starting a film called Rehman.
All right, on the life of Rehman.
Yes.
Rehman.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. But in all of these, all the programs that you've directed, that you've named, some of them, you have a whole career that is full of the hundreds of programs that you've done. How important is the storytelling aspect, that whenever a person watches it, he needs to relate to it one way or the other?
Or is that a skill that can be acquired for a person who wants to be like you, suppose?
I don't think so. It's inborn in you, because
it's a gift.
You give me a program, you give me a concept, and I'll do it in my own way. Getting back and forth in times, also maybe a story which is being told absolutely in a new fashion. I would like to do that, because it's almost 50 years now. I have to do something new, you see.
Sir, so now you've contributed so much, almost all your life.
Yes.
So how do you see the, the trends evolving?
Television is, we are left behind, and to be very honest, and we could have gone far. But then you see there's certainly, we had, of course, let me tell you, we had trainers like Aslam Azhar, Agha Nasir and Zaman Ali Khan. They were the people who really groomed us, and Shoaib Hashmi. And they really promoted us, and at the same time, they they were also storytellers at the same time.
Wow, wow, sir. And coming over to you, Rabel, you must be feeling extremely lucky sitting here on air with two legendary figures, iconic figures. So I would like to have your comments first of all.
I'm kind of like shivering right now because, you know, listening to all of their experiences, and I'm like, okay, I have so much to learn from them. You know, sharing the screen with Tauseeq Haider Sahab for the past 3 months has been an amazing, it has been a life-changing experience, I would say, because there's so much to learn. Because like as a person who is just making her debut on the TV screen, I would consider myself extremely lucky to be sitting next to him and learning from him. You know, he'd be, you know, correcting my mistakes, and I'd be like, okay, so this is a new thing, a new day where I could learn from him.
So we call it Nok Palak Samarna.
Yeah, he is actually doing that, and he does it so well, because, you know, as Khawaja Sahab was just saying that nobody could just acquire a talent. It has to be inborn in you. And I would say that it's sort of unfortunate that these days the new people of our generation, they don't have to go through all those procedures, that all those processes that all these veterans have gone through. They have had mentors, they have had leaders, they have had teachers who would, you know, they would do that Nok Palak Samvarna.
What she's trying to say, Tauseeq, is that we were better trained. In fact,
that is, I don't think there is any doubt in that these people were better trained. You know, these days.
I feel extremely. Please accept my condolences, Rabel, that we could not provide you with as good trainers and mentors and as Khawaja Sahab.
No.
So you have to live with this. वो कहते हैं पंजाबी में ऐ माल आ रहे हैं. This is what you have. Please accept this.
No, I'm not talking.
But you're passing on those values to the new ones, aren't you? Like collecting them,
I would
telling
say
her how
not as in a good way.
No, to tell you the truth, he's my best student. And whatever I think, it's there in him, you see. Absolutely. We did for 5 years, we did live shows for 5 years, PTV World. It became so popular, extremely popular at that time.
So we are talking about, you know, picking up that talent. We are talking to a young talent right here. So what is the criteria of picking up talent? Because nowadays we are seeing these videos who are going viral, you know, overnight success, but they're not going through the same processes that you guys went through. And that in turn creates a lot of disappointment for those who are coming through proper channels. I mean, through dramas, through theaters, proper learning. So what's your comment?
To tell you the truth, I was trained from Hilvas. I was trained from NHK Tokyo. I was trained from Disney World. You see, there was so those days were very good opportunities for opportunities for me to go anywhere for a year. You see, every job I went for a training was for a year. So you can imagine.
I think trainings are extremely important in any part of your professional or personal life, and they add value to who you are as a person or as a professional. But you know, there is a combination of different things. There's an inborn talent which is honed by you know, mentors like yourself, Khawaja Sahab, and then there is the work done by the person himself, like in the case of Tauseeq, how he has groomed himself personally and where he is now from. Where, I mean, if you look back 20 years and look now today, the entrepreneur that you've become, mashallah, and the international acclaim that you have is something that we all look towards. Although professionally you're my senior, I will not go on the personal front, but professionally you are my senior, and I always have looked upon you, towards you, because the fact remains that you have a certain skill set that a lot of people need to understand and to emulate in some way whatsoever.
Well, Omar, you're so very kind. Thank you very much for that. One thing that I'd like to add to what Khawaja Sahab said is that in today's times, I think book reading, Khawaja Sahab, has
that is dying.
That is actually
almost
dying. That is dying. I remember my mentors, Khawaja, of course, Khawaja Sahab is sitting here, Khawaja Najam Hassan, and Jamshed Fashori. And I would like to mention Shahid Masood also, who was the first producer of my show, Rising Pakistan. I think we all used to sit in the evenings or maybe after the show, whenever you finish your show and over a cup of tea or coffee, we would talk about what book are you reading these days? And it has got nothing to do with the television cameras and the show that you're hosting. We would talk about literature, we would talk about Noon Mim Rashid, we would talk about Shakespeare, you know, Hamlet samajh aa raha hai ki Hamlet samajh nahi aa raha. You understand Shakespeare or you do not. But important is that you read. So the reading is immensely important for Rabel's generation to do and to acquire as a lifestyle if you have to be on camera, on TV. One. Two, people usually say, Khaisab, I don't know if you agree with me or not, with apologies, that this is TikTok generation, this is Reels generation, and this is a 1 minute, this is a 60-second generation.
Agreed.
And I sometimes feel that, so what? There's no harm. If this is a TikTok generation, I'm a TikToker, like a TikTok consumer myself, and the best of mentors and historians that I get to learn about is through TikTok.
They're all there now.
The great intellectuals and philosophers who have worked on religion and comparative religion and philosophy and comparative politics and civilization, I get to know them. I got to know them through TikTok, and there is no harm. So it is TikTok or Reels or Instagram. All these things are just a tool, just like a knife. You want to cut a throat or you want to cut an apple. So I'm all for the 60 seconds generation, the 3-minute generation as Rabel is, and I think Khawaja Saab and myself and Omar yourself, we have to adapt ourselves to this lifestyle. Otherwise, you will be obsolete.
Sir, this is so progressive of you, and coming back to the point where you were, letting us know that book reading is so important. You yourself have done so much, and if I asked you a simple question regarding script writing, why has it gone so stale? Because in the previous, just now we've been watching the entire episode of how the PTV's journey went through and what it went through. There's a lot of strong script writing element. So where has it gone now?
Well, we had worked with, of course, I'll talk about myself, Hina, Maheen, Anwar Maqsood. We were all together day, noon and night. But things have changed now, you see. And to be very honest, my children, my sons both, they're better than me. As you said, TikTok and everything, they try to convince me in their own style, and I'm really convinced with them.
So, but where's the element of depth? Like when we talk about, there was this drama Man Chale Ka Sauda, and in that there was a dialogue कि अगर जानना चाहते हो तो सवाल करो, and then there was another something that was so beautiful, amalgamation of science and spirituality, where he says that दो ही साहिबाने इल्म अमल के मैदान में इल्म सीखते हैं, एक साई और एक साइंस. Now the depth that it is giving you, do you think that this generation has that depth to understand and to push for us to think more who we are, what can we do more for the script writing techniques and all?
Script writing is very simple. If you are single-minded person, you see, if you have, I'm doing this Reshma, so I was thinking how to connect the story into a very simple form, because a woman who is from a place from India, and she used to Loha, there's a place in Rajasthan, and a woman from there, and now she was performing in the best institutions of the world, in big theaters and all. So this is how it depends on person to person, you see.
Yeah.
I think it is something that is subjective at the same time.
Yes.
What is very important is value and technique. Whether it be in story writing, whether it be in hosting, whether it be in direction, whether it be in production. I think these are values that Pakistan Television has continued in one way or the other to prevail upon over the decades.
And chance also matters.
Chance also matters. If you get the right chance, like Tauseeq,
right people to guide you.
That is so too. Had we not had people like Khawaja Saab, Tauseeq, or others like you've had, Jamshed Fashuri Saab or Shahid Saab, maybe you wouldn't have achieved the pinnacle that you are at now. it is a mixture, a combination of different aspects, your own inborn talent, how that talent is honed, and the opportunities that you get that make you the person that you are.
Absolutely, that's so true. And this reminds me of the fact that the studio, this very Studio C that we are sitting in right now, on that corner, I started my career from in 1992. So I used to read English news, and a little while ago when we were listening to the news, I was looking at the teleprompter and all the technical advancement that PTV News has had over the years, and I was so very emotional and happy and proud of the fact that this generation, again Maheen's generation and Rabel's generation, I will not include
no, not the same generation.
So they have the facility of you know, showing their capacity and capability through this advancement. And so this grid, and I was looking at these lights. Of course, the lights have changed, but I was looking at this grid and the studio. So I used to read English news with the one and only, the living legend, Shaista Zaid Sahiba, and she has also been a great mentor for me. So I was actually remembering when I was climbing up the stairs, Khawaja Sahab, I remember that I used to hold my, in those days we used to have, of course, papers as scripts. So I used to climb up the stairs at 5:45 in the evening for a 6 o'clock bulletin. So, so this studio is also very nostalgic, and the moment is really emotional.
Exactly, the building holds so many memories of the past, of the distant past, when Khawaja Sahab should be, you know.
I was here for 3 years, and we enjoyed. We did that program, Duniya Meri Jamaan, if you remember, with all the top singers in one program.
But Khawaja Sahab, you know, Pakistan television has evolved from the time when everything used to be live in the very beginning because you couldn't record. Then came those different aspects of tapes which have now evolved into digital, and everything is recorded onto digital media. Which part of PTV's journey do you feel has been the most difficult? The live one, the one with the Betamax tapes and the others, or the recent one with the digital innovations and all? Which are you most comfortable with? Let's put it that way.
I thought for me, everything was comfortable. Every beginning, middle, end, everything. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
All right. So every aspect of every journey of the
PTV was PTV. I really enjoyed.
All right. Rabel, coming to you, I'm cutting you, Maheen. So please feel free to cut me whenever you want. Rabel, coming to you, being a newbie as far as journalism is concerned, and being born and bred in the era of digital media. Have you ever kind of researched what Pakistan television used to be in the beginning, how we evolved into where we are now? Does that part interest you? And if so, what are the techniques that you have kind of discovered over time, if you have done the research?
So I consider myself very fortunate to be born into a family that was a crazy PTV fan. Like, I remember that when me and my sisters were, like, you know, growing up, my parents would get us DVDs of old PTV dramas, and we would watch them. So like, I have watched starting from Alpha Bravo Charlie. Obviously I loved that play, but then my mother introduced me to Sunehre Din. She was like, you know, you should watch this is a prequel of that drama. And we watched that. Then we watched Tanhaiyan, Dhoop Kinare, Dhua, Angan Teda, 50-50. So there's so many dramas that we watched after reaching a certain age, and that actually introduced me, as these two were talking about, the process, the entire process, you know, the actors go through. And currently in this digital age, I would say that it's far easier, but it still can bring a lot of disappointments, because it's just easy to, you know, pick up your phone and record something and put it over social media, and people would notice you. But at the same time, I personally believe, and maybe they would agree, that there is still no match to what these people were doing and to what the current generation
continue to do,
and continue to do, obviously, and continue to do, because again, the TikTok generation, if they find good mentors and good leaders, really amazing.
I think Khawaja Sahab should involve himself with the digital media.
Exactly. But
what is your take? And of course, Rabel, you were
Khawaja. Khawaja Sahab should have a TikTok.
He should train people and how to make videos and what should be the concept, how to conceptualize.
The dance sequences on different
songs?
No.
Visuals or small films of 3 or 5 minute duration or I think you
giving
master
tips of acting or
of course one
like
can
that.
do that, it's not difficult.
And then like I see people doing monologues over social media, they would pick up old Urdu lines from dramas and they'd be doing monologues, and I personally believe that people like Tauseeq Haider should be telling them how to be so eloquent in your speech.
So when are you opening your academy, by the way? Because I am going to be the first.
I'm going to be there because I have to learn that rhythm in the voice, whether if he's speaking Urdu or he's speaking English, the certain highs and lows of the voice. And
sir, adding up to that, Rabel,
मुझे लग रहा है
something.
मेरी वफात के बाद मेरी याद में program.
Sir, adding up to
this is a
Rabel's
program.
point.
My obituary.
No, but you're here, you're the guest.
We are so lucky.
You're so
we want
kind.
to learn.
Thank
from
you very
sir.
much. All right, Maheen, number one, if first of all, thank you for being so kind, like Omar. But if you want to learn learn anything from me, you should watch my program.
I do.
So that is one thing. Number two, because you know what I've learned from Najam, Khawaja Saab, it's not that okay, Khawaja Saab, sit with me and now teach me something new. No, it's not like that. I used to finish my program and I used to go and sit in his office. He would do his administrative work. He would do the next program's lineup, the selection of songs, the script. There's a lighting issue in the last episode. How can we mend that? I would sit there and just look at him. I would just listen to him.
Watch and learn.
Same goes for Jamshed Fashori. Same goes for other mentors that I've had. I would come. I was reading news for the last 3 years, but I would still watch Shasta Zad. When I was not on duty, I was at home, but I would listen to her bulletin.
Wow.
So this is how you learn. It's not you need to have an academy in these times. You can learn from international broadcasters. They have their Instagram pages, they have their Instagram handles and TikTok handles. So you can learn from them. 1. 2, I think I do not need to come up with an academy. I think Pakistan Television has a great big academy, and they come up with different ideas, and that is what I encourage. I think PTV should involve, and I've always said that my services for Pakistan Television, PTV Academy, are totally free of cost. Whenever PTV needs me, I'm there, and I will not charge anything, because that is something that I have to pay back to my mother, my mother institution, which is Radio Pakistan and Pakistan Television. So PTV should come up with these ideas of mentoring broadcasters like yourselves, and I think Khawaja Saab, myself, other senior people will be very happy to come and contribute. So it's not that Tauseeq Haider coming up with an academy, Tauseeq Haider ki academy, aao seekho aur anchor ban jao. Not that. I think there's PTV has Darsgah hai. It's a mentoring institute, and we all should contribute towards that.
So I would just add a bit to that I believe that people like Tauseeq Haider and Khawaja Najam, they are academies within themselves.
Yeah, within themselves.
So working with them or sharing screen with them
is a learning experience.
It's a learning experience. It's a learning curve. It's an ongoing
Another
learning.
obituary statement.
Maheen, to tell you the truth, in fact, we have worked in so difficult days also, Tauseeq and myself. And we had, I was doing a program with him, and we had all the difficult singers. Imagine Nayyara Noor, Mehnaz, Tina Sani, and then Tahira Sayyed, and Zile Huma, Faryal Parvez. 6 singers in one program.
And you managed them all, mashallah, successfully.
No, we managed. We did. I got a President Pride of Performance in that.
On that program, yeah.
All right, we are a bit short of time, so we have to stop this part of the transmission at this very juncture. Thank you very much to the 2 of my guests, because Tauseeq is staying on, but Khawaja Najmul Hassan, thank you so very much to have joined us, and Rabel, thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
2 different generations,
so honored.
but of course 2 people who have their own different experiences and their own contribution to what Pakistan Television is all about. Past, present, and inshallah future as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of this first half of our transmission. We'll be back after this short break. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. We've had amazing discussions with our guests in the previous segment that was about entertainment, and now we'd be talking more about the current affairs, the programming side of PTV, the news, the credible news that PTV has been bringing throughout these years, news that has been brought to you with lots of responsibility, of course, and we have amazing guests in this segment as well. Why don't you do the honors, Omar, of introducing them?
Thank you for always giving me the chance to do the honors. Our first guest joins us from the first segment, Tauseeq Haider, because he has such a lot of history with PTV, you know. So do I, but you have a bit more of history about what, let's put it that way, 8 years more of history than I do. So that, you know, contributes to a lot. You've been part of news, you've been part of programming, and you continue to be part of programming as well. So your importance becomes paramount as far as this segment is also concerned. So Tauseeq, welcome to this segment as well, where we try to understand what PTV news, PTV world, programming, news and current affairs has been all about since its inception to date. Our second guest is Sarwar Munir. I've worked under his guidance. I shall just say he has been my boss in PTV News as well when I was doing news a couple of years back. And you yourself have started as a reporter, as a producer, and lo and behold, with time you became the head of the channel. You have become the director of news. You've been the director of international relations at Pakistan Television, and now post-retirement you're still continuing to work, still continuing to study, and now are also teaching at 2 leading universities in Islamabad. Sarwar Munir, thank you very much to have given us the time.
Thank you, sir.
And our third guest is Saira Ijaz. You work with the leading think tank in Islamabad, and you basically the editor in that leading think tank, and you're also more or less concerned with news and of course how the news should be put forward and how it needs to be published on the website and on different platforms. Saira, thank you very much to have joined us.
My pleasure.
We'll begin this time with Tauseeq again, because of course he's our first guest. But before we can start the conversation, because you know we always are in a hurry to start the conversation because there's so much to talk about. We have a little package to you know share with you as far as news and program is concerned. We'll be right back after.
Pakistan Television Network, since its inception, has always remained cognizant and set its goals straight that Pakistanis must always be remained well informed and enlightened by the latest news and happenings at the national as well as global level. From the start, PTV preserved its tradition of providing its viewers true, culturally sensitive and transparent information, and has always followed the principles of sensible yet sensitive reporting. While informing its viewers across the country on the latest newsworthy happenings on the national and international levels, PTV News Division has always kept its spirit of being indiscriminate and unbiased. During the past few years, there has been rapid expansion in the area and scope of news coverage. Enhancement in the number of bulletins has enabled PTV to keep the viewers abreast of latest happenings at the national and international level. There has been a qualitative change in the news reporting as well as presentation of news bulletins from National News Bureau of Islamabad and from other centres. Merit and objectivity are being maintained as a hallmark of PTV news items, which extends to routine day-to-day coverage and to parliamentary proceedings, political activities of the government and opposition, besides human interest stories. Current Affairs, one of the most important division of PTV Corporation, is telecasting more than 33 fresh programs every week. Being national channel, PTV promotes cultural traditions of all the provinces of the country, including Azad Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, through its programs on different events throughout Pakistan. Moreover, Pakistan's only English news channel, PTV World, is keeping its international viewers updated with 24/7 news coverage and different programs on current affairs, art and literature, as well as sports.
You know, and there's always a producer ringing that tone in our ears, saying 5, 3, 2, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we have to be alert on. That is what has been our role and the relationship between us and the producer, whether it be programs and news. Maheen has been doing news, still continues to do news. I've been doing news, and now have shifted to programs. Tauseeq Haider, my first guest for this, has done news for so long, and now is completely devoted to programming and so much more. What is the difference between doing news and then hosting programs? What is the basic difference? Is this a step forward? Is this a step in the right direction? Do you need to do news before you do programs, or can you start with programs?
I think it's not a matter of being in one direction or the other, or one thing leading to another direction or to another thing, and is that the right direction? I think it depends from person to person. If since I started my career as a radio broadcaster and on TV in this very studio, as before I was telling you that I started my career as a newscaster. So it's, I read news for 4 years. And at the same time, parallel, I was doing radio programming, doing shows in Urdu on FM. So there came a point then when I talked to myself, and I used to work for the automobile industry as a marketing salesperson for a real leading car company in Pakistan. So in 1995, I talked to myself, I said, it's not a matter of going further or approaching a new horizon, it's just discovering yourself. So I thought I was more comfortable in Urdu, which is my third language. My first language is Punjabi and Potohari, and Urdu is my third language, and English is my fourth language. So I was more comfortable in Urdu. So I thought maybe I should try to discover myself in Urdu on television screen as well, and that worked. So it's not a matter of moving from one point A to point B, and that is you are growing. It's just that you are discovering yourself.
It's also what you're more comfortable with doing.
You're more comfortable. I also had a chance to act. I acted in TV dramas, on theatre, but then I came back in TV show hosting. So it's not a matter of that even when you talk about mediums, from radio to television, television to film, no, it's not like that. So it's just where you are comfortable, where you are discovering yourself.
And you find that, I think, when you step out of your comfort zone, only then you discover and explore where would you fit in.
And I did, but I think show hosting in Urdu is my comfort zone.
And I think it's also something that you're passionate about. I think there should be a mixture of being comfortable with and being passionate about. And until you not have that zest for doing something, you can't do it.
A little streak of madness, I would call it.
Well, yes, streak of genius, I would put it. That would. Sarwar Munir Rao Sahab, I've seen you over the years that I've been at TV, and so has Tauseeq. And your work has always been that of a mentor, of somebody who has guided us. We haven't seen you in the role of a reporter or a producer. How were the early days of Pakistan television when you started as a reporter, and how do you feel Pakistan television has evolved over the decades in the news and current affairs section?
Thank you very much, Vatsa, for introducing me on such a high pedestal. It's a great honor for me to be with all of you. In fact, first of all, I'll congratulate all of you and the viewers for the 59th anniversary of Pakistan television. I joined Pakistan television on 1st March 1975. In those days, Quetta and Peshawar television was started. We saw an advertisement in Pakistan Times that Pakistan television needs young university graduates. We were in Lahore, Punjab University. I was studying in the political science department. Few friends asked, let's see how television functions, because we were not allowed to get in television. We thought if we will apply, we'll go in. When we went in the television, we had a written test, then a small interview. And luckily, I was selected as news producer. I applied for program producer, but when my interview was being conducted, the chairman of the interview, Mr. Muslihuddin, the then director news, asked me, Rao Sahab, if we offer you in the news, would you like to join? I thought that it's a good news for me that they are offering a job. I said, I have never worked in program or in television. I am a student. Whatever position you will give, I'll join. So after a few weeks, I received a letter, news producer reporter posted at Quetta. And I went to the Quetta. From Quetta, I started my job. And coming to your question, when I went there, there was only one field camera. That was the Bolex, and in studio there was one studio camera, like you have state-of-the-art cameras nowadays and state-of-the-art studio. It was a conventional studio and conventional control room. There was no digital teleps or tickers, only these telep card On the talib card they write the producer Sarwar Munir Rao or Khabarnama, and with hand they push and out. And when we run the film was made on the telecine. It's a electronic machine which make the negative film positive. And there was no sync of sound. On Nagra tape recorder they used to record the sound, and on editing table they then clip it like today's Elfie or anything. We join the film and then the news goes on. Interestingly, in those days we used two type of cameras. One is silent camera and other is sound camera. Silent camera film is of only 100 feet long, while the sound film is about 2.5 minutes. But the sound film is recorded along with a Nagra tape recorder with an engineer, and then the lips were synced. In those days, Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and he was on an election campaign too. In Pishin, I worked with him. So it was very difficult to tell the VIP that when our film will stop. So there was a queue. President Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was speaking and the cameraman was recording. We asked him, sir, when we will give you the wind up like all television, you stop or change the topic. He was speaking very high of Pakistan politics, future manifesto, Sardari system, evolution, and when I gave him the wound up signal, he was a very intelligent person. He simply said, yes, he was speaking in Urdu, yes, ये चीज़ें बहुत अहम हैं, लेकिन इसके अहम बातें बताने से पहले मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि मैंने सियासत में क्यों शिरकत की. He changed the topic and told the family history. In that time, the magazine of the camera was put in the changing bag, which was a black color changing bag. Cameraman put their both hands, and after the zip they changed the spool, and again after a minute or so, again we are ready, I give him a signal, so yes, and he started. Okay, I was telling you. So these type of films were going on in Pakistan everywhere. So these were the primitive years, and now you have a whole world in your palm. Now the mobile is a television, on wall you have a television, in car you have a television. So I traveled along with the conventional television till today.
And you have seen the evolution of media, but in your point of view, how has the news and current affairs evolved in the public sector and in the private sector as well, because you've been part and the founding director, current affairs and news of one of the leading private channels as well.
But the interesting situation is that on 26th November 1964, when the television was inaugurated by General Muhammad Ayub Khan, first ever television station at Lahore. Initially, when they decided to launch the television, in the old Arts Council Lahore building, there were few tents in which the pilot television station offices were established, and later on the current building of the Radio Pakistan, in that days the canteen of the Radio Pakistan was converted into makeshift television studio. And when the inauguration was done, at that time the only transmission duration was less than 5 hours. The first ever news film or a news bulletin went on air on that day, 26th November 1964, and the inaugural film of President Ayub was shown. It was only 20 seconds. And after almost 5-6 years, then the transmission, in the transmission there were 2 bulletin, one English, one Urdu, and one current affairs program started. This was the beginning.
Right, right. Thank you, sir, for telling us in detail. Now, coming over to you, ma'am. I've been watching you every day. We are in the same studios and you've been doing, mashallah, great. So how important is it for a channel to not only give credible news, but also provide that platform through which viewers can think critically, as you're giving amazing analysis almost every day?
Actually, what I believe is that with the passing times, one has to change its, its style, its format to meet up the challenges. And this participatory participation is very important when it comes to, news and commenting on the current ongoing current affairs. So I think that PTV has taken this very much initiative and inviting and taking the opinion expert. Rather to invite some political figures, I have seen that in all the current affairs programs, especially experts, scholars, they have been called and they have been invited to give their opinion on the ongoing problems or on the different issues. So I guess that's very encouraging, and it's very it's healthy in this whole scenario of social anxiety, and when there is so much influx of information, which is mostly disinformation. So I guess it's a very positive thing, and PTV is doing very well in this aspect.
We're really lucky to be a part of this channel.
But Tauseeq, disinformation brings me brings to mind, the fact that Pakistan Television has always upheld policies and values regarding information. The information, whether it be through news or through programs such as yours, or through the topics that have been that are decided to be be discussed during shows such as in yours, are always of a certain standard, always thought with the audience in mind and with a positive perspective. How do you feel this positive perspective or the dissemination of information through infotainment is important for Pakistan Television, and how important do you feel the role of the private media also needs to be in order to deviate from the current TRP rated or related
the sensationalization
of news or even programming, to be more practical and be more informative? PTV has always stood for information, entertainment and education. Do you feel these are values that are important in this day and age?
They're important, but also, Omar, we have to keep in mind that this is not the age of knowledge. This is the age of information. And I time again emphasize on this fact that we have to bring the coming generations back towards knowledge gaining rather than information gaining. I'm not well informed at all in comparison to the coming generation. If there's a millennial sitting next to me, and if you conduct a quiz, I think I will score the least in comparison to a guy or a girl in his 30s or 20s or in his teens, because of the fact that their information base is so strong, because of AI, because of ChatGPT. How can you compete that? But how far will it go? And this also brings me to your question, that be it Pakistan Television, which is the state television, or the private news channels, or even the social media information portals and news portals and current affairs portals, until when can we survive? That is the question that I ask myself and my coming generations. This is a generation of information. What will be the next generation? What is next? Knowledge is gone, information is in. What's next? I think that is one point that people who are at the editorial side of be it Pakistan Television or the news and current affairs private channels, I think the administrative, not the administrative, sorry, my pardon, the editorial side has to sit and think that whatever content we are giving on television screens is more information based, correct or not correct, that's besides the point. But what's next? AI. I was Rausab the other day. I was looking at an assignment of a student of a private university, media university in Karachi, and he asked me, and he took me as a person to do his research on as far as AI. He came up with Tauseeq Haider being a Superman and Captain America and Batman, and he showed me videos if Tauseeq Haider was Doctor Strange or Batman, AI. And I was like, is this your assignment? He said, yeah, I'm doing my research. I said, what are you doing in it? It's all AI doing it. But he was so proud of the fact, and that was amazing. And I said, after you are done with your research, please give me these videos. I'll put them on my Instagram, because that was so cool. So what I was thinking was that so where is my capacity? Where is Tauseeq Haider? Nowhere, actually. It's all AI, ChatGPT, which is coming up.
But that is important to have your own capacity and to do your own capacity building, like the Sarwar Munir Rao Saab generation has been doing. You know, you were working day and night, and you had to be on your tips and toes about what the latest in the current affairs was, whether it be national or international. You had to have a certain editorial policy when it came to the state channel as well, on what needs to come on screen, what should not, how words should be put into the right phrases, and how should the news be presented. Don't you feel that those values are somewhere lost, A, because of maybe AI and other such ventures, and B, because of the influx of sensationalism?
Tauseeq Haider in detail narrated the ground realities of a younger generation. I will quote two learned persons in history's quotation to know what is happening now. Ibn Khaldun said that after every 30 years, one generation takes over the other. If a child is born today, the other person is of 30 years of age, middle manager, and the second person is of 60 years on the exit line. So every 30 years, one generation takes over the other. So it's a generation change. The other is the saying of Hazrat Ali Karamullah Wajh, that never ever give your child the training which you have been given in your childhood. He was a Danai Hikmat. If Nabi Pak Sallam is the city of knowledge, he was the door of knowledge. What he said, he never asked, never give training to the child. He said, never give that training which you have been given. Give him a forward-looking training. What the Tauseeq was saying, this also qualifies the same, because we are, like my generation, I am above 60. More than that. So now which generation is coming? If a child of 2-3 years age knows how to handle computer and tablet or a mobile phone better than persons of my age, why it is so? He is prone to technology better than the previous generations. If the AI, ChatGPT, Analyst and other search engines are coming, it is very easy to write a PhD thesis in 2 hours than to work for 2 years. But there's a full of information. But if you ask the student like he did, okay, what is your thesis and findings in 2 lines? He will think twice because he didn't work anything. So this is the gap, and every generation has to work out, and those generations who are working hard, just see before 30-40 years, can we presume that one can talk in fraction of seconds to America and see their loved one in mobile phone? Now it is happening. So it's a forward-looking training, always needs and needs of the generation. This is a science and technological era. Now the AI has given another lead where this nation is going.
But should we leave or lose our basic values of understanding of knowledge just because we have access to tools such as AI?
In fact, television or a media hits your mind, your psyche, your behavior. It's a tool to be used, but the brain behind the screen always matters. The producers who arrange all these talents sitting here to discussing television, he's the brain. We have the experts. If few experts sit together, same is the education commissions can give lead, vice chancellors can tell, other scholars like my sister sitting here, these type of people can contribute a lot. What should be the objective of our education? If you have a time, I can tell one little information. I went to CNN for a training. I worked with CNN Atlanta 3 months. At that time, the director news of CNN, when he was briefing, I asked a question. Everybody asks you, what is the secret of success of America? You will say the system. I'll ask, what is the secret of success of system? You know what he said? He said the education. I asked a counter question. If education is the success story of the system, what is the purpose of education? He said that you are from overseas. I'll give you one example of that angle. We teach kids and the university students one principle. If a stranger asks you for a help, before extending his help, ask 2 questions to yourself. One question, whether when you help him, would it not be harm America? If the question is no, then ask question, if you help him, it will not harm you. If the question answer is no, don't think what type of person, what race, what religion, what country he is, go for help. Win over that person. So this is one of the very meager objective of education. I would request you to do some program, what are the purpose of education in Pakistan and what are the objectives. Vice chancellors can give you better findings than us.
Exactly, Ji. Why not we come over to you, ma'am? We've been talking about AI, we've been talking about brain behind the whole program. Now, how can you, in your expert opinion, tell us how do we stop the this information flux that's just coming over and creating more anxiety? Is there any regulatory mechanism through which we can either stop it or give a pathway or mechanism to our youth? Because it is coming over and it's just, it's harmful, I think, for our health as well, for brains as well. The food is never digested, the kind of news that we are seeing day in, day out.
Actually, first of all, there is a need to first realize the dangerous aspect and the connotations this AI and this chat GPT has. Scholars and historians, philosophers like Harari is speaking about it. First of all, we just, we get so mesmerized and we get so much impressed. Like at the first time, I tell you my own experience when I just use a year ago ChatGPT and I give some command, write this for me on some IR stuff like that. It was like magical. Literally, I was taken aback.
Within seconds.
I would have taken 2 to 3, 5 days. I would have researched so many websites. I went to my library and all that. But literally, at that day, I was very much, impressed, frankly speaking. But later on, when I realized that it is so dangerous for my own mental and intellectual health, I guess first of all there is a need to realize that everything has pros and cons. But first of all, for me, I think this is a very dangerous thing. It will have, there are certain sort of things which have more positives and less negatives. But there are certain things which are more harmful, which are more, which are not good. Like I think, in my opinion, like climate change, we should take this thing in an emergency case. Like we are in climate emergency right now. Our world is going to moving towards catastrophic things. Results would be dangerous. Let's imagine that it's the end of November and we are not feeling much winter. I'm sitting without any cardigan, and even it's not much winters in our lifetimes. Just imagine in the last 5-7 years, the entire climate has become, so hot. So likewise, I guess in coming 2-3 years, we will realize that how dangerous it is. First of all, there is a need to have realization. And then again, the role of media, the awareness campaigns, that how to use it, do make, you know what the Harari was telling us, and I was reading some report on AI, that they will be able, this AI thing will and robotics would be able to influence your emotions. your mind. They are going to control your minds.
They're still controlling.
All right, that's wonderful. But you know, let's come to the traditional media and let's come to Pakistan television, because we are celebrating the 59th anniversary of PTV.
But just before that, what Saira just said, first of all, I agree with her, and I was sometimes I think that I'm very fortunate that I've seen the three phases of transition of human technological evolution. I was born in 1970. I'm 53 now, so I've seen the TIP telephone, you know, the telephone, and we used to book a call. If I had to call my brother in Multan or Karachi, we used to book a call on 105, I still remember, and the reminder number was 102. So I've seen those times as well, and then I saw the Motorola ka int wala phone, you know, the brick phone, the heavy phones, and then I saw the transition towards TikTok, and now I'm seeing the transition towards AI and ChatGPT. So I think I've lived the most interesting span of life of transition, and I sometimes feel that the child born today is not as fortunate, because he's going to enjoy ChatGPT and Reels and Instagrams and all of that and TikTok, but he or she is not going to enjoy the TIP telephone and the call booking and all of that.
And the ability to think critically and analyze.
So I feel sometimes, if for instance, if Omar, I ask you, which year ideally you wanted to be born in? For instance,
I would have loved to be born in the 1950s. I think.
Yeah, 1950s. Not in the modern era.
All right.
In the modern era.
Very classic.
Give me a decade. 1950s.
60s,
Never
70s.
ask the age.
60s, 70s. Okay. So she wanted to be to be born in my Rosab.
Sir, I think Rausa was in the best. Rausa was in the best era.
Okay. Come on.
What is your ideal decade to be born in? 19 or 2000?
I think my age was the ideal to born in, because we after the primitive age of Stone Age or Industrial Revolution, we come in this universe and we saw changing. Like people say,
even before us, you know,
say that since 1964 till to date, if one wants to see the changes in Pakistan, politics, culture, behavior, art, dancing, everything, you only see the Khabarnama and Pakistan. They were moving together. So I have seen the area when television came into Pakistan and the era of AL. I worked in a conventional television of a Chabi camera, and now I am sitting in the age of satellite digital camera age.
And pursuing your academic career as well. He's doing PhD now.
So I feel lucky enough that if I am in the classroom, as earlier told that I am teaching in some universities, when I go there, I saw that in 30 years before or 20 years before, whenever I go to teach the students of media, they have a blank mind totally. And if I went there without preparation of a lecture, I simply tell them, they said, took it granted that ye patthar pe lakeer hai, Rao Saab is saying whatever, it's right. But today, this experience, now when I go in the class, every student is aware of that, from where the teacher is teaching, from the Google, from the AI, from YouTube. So the teaching in this era is also a difficult one, because
challenging.
As early you both were agreed, and I too, that this is the age of information, not the age of knowledge. Now it is mandatory for a teacher, if he hasn't processed the information in his mind, he will not impress the students.
Indeed.
Saira, what is your ideal?
I think I'm satisfied. I'm not happy, but I think it's hard to choose.
She's
but
happy with the
1840.
So Rao is happy.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, the last century.
Without electricity,
really?
Yes. I want to be calm.
Sir Tauseeq, Haider, you've been a news anchor as well. Any funny incident that you remember?
Yes. Funny incident. Rao Saab would relate to that. I don't know, Omar, when you started your career, I think you also used to read from the paper.
Yes.
But in this very studio, I was climbing up the stairs, and it was about 5:55 or something like that, and I was holding my bulletin in my hands, and the producer, I don't remember, it was Zulfikar Ali Shah or was it Uzma? I don't remember, but I think it was Uzma, the producer. And there was this guy who used to put the papers in the, what you call the teleprompter machine. So, on olden times. So, he comes, or she comes, I don't remember, and just 2-3 minutes before the bulletin goes on air, and he drops the pile of paper.
Oh, God.
And all the paper is jumbled up, and it's not, and which one is the first one, and which one is the 10th one. So, and we did not panic. And now what was happening is that they were sitting on the floor, and I was reading, then they were searching for the next paper and putting it in the machine. But good that I had a duplicate copy in my hands.
That was the norm.
That was the norm. That something goes wrong, you have to switch back to your paper copy. So I almost read the whole bulletin from the paper copy, and I was enjoying because they were panicking, and I was looking at the camera like this, and there were 3 people sitting on the floor trying to find out which paper is which and which news is which. But that happens in a live bulletin. But yeah, that's, and many others actually,
but you know, as far as program is concerned, what are the basic, what is your basic philosophy of hosting a show? And do you feel that philosophy has changed over the decades?
I think my philosophy has always been, in Urdu, the word is khoj. How do you translate khoj? Curiosity. To be curious about a person who's sitting next to you or in front of you. If Maheen Jafri is my guest, so I should be as curious about Maheen and what's going on in her heart, what's going on in her mind, as curious as my viewer would be. So I think that curiosity to discover a person as your guest, that khoj, that you have to discover that person in and out and bring forth that person and his or her personality to your audience. That is something that I've always been fond of, and that is also because of the fact that other than reading books, my passion has been reading humans. So I read humans. I think a human also gives you, maybe very quickly, shortly, last year I was sitting at a bar in Manchester in the UK, and next to me sitting was a person who was from the African descent, and I asked him maybe who he was, and we were just sitting next to each other, and he was like that. He was from Nigeria, I don't know, Ghana, wherever, and he was a janitor. He used to clean toilets in the same bar. And Omar, you will not believe what I'm going to tell you. I had one of the most engaging and heartwarming and knowledgeable conversations with that janitor, with that toilet cleaner from, I don't remember, Nigeria or Ghana, wherever he was from. And that was so great for me, the way he came to the UK, his wife passed away, his child had some deadly disease, and he was cleaning toilets, and I think that conversation still lives with me. So that came about because I was interested in knowing that one person, which is equal to reading a book. So I think, answering your question, Maheen, to be a good host is the khoj, the curiosity, to discover a person, to go into the heart and mind of the person sitting next to you. It's just not just 5 or 7 questions that you prepare one night before.
Yes,
you have to kind of decipher, you have to understand the person through the conversation that you have with him or her.
Exactly.
There's this one point that you raised that was very important. You told very lightly that I didn't panic. I think me being a news anchor, I know this is something so extreme that this becomes more like a superpower when you do not panic. So how important is that for a news anchor or for maybe a news producer?
So it's immensely important. I remember one bulletin I was reading, and Shaista Zaid Sahiba, she was watching at home, and I fumbled. And after 3 minutes, I fumbled again. And it was a 15-minute bulletin, and after 9 minutes, I fumbled again. So that was not a good performance. And it was just my initial 3 or 4 months. Next day, she said, "Bad day." I said, "Yeah, ma'am, bad day." She said, "You know what wrong did you do?" I said, "What?" She said, "Never live with a fumble." If you never live with a fumble. If you fumble, if you make a mistake, don't live with it. Move on, because the rest of the bulletin is a new, fresh opportunity for you to make a mark. So if you start living with that moment, that you made a blunder, or you made a fumble, or you made a mistake, you attend to make another one, and another one, and another one. So I think that was a great advice that she gave me, and so never live with a mistake.
I think that,
Move on.
I think that's important. Rao Saab, being the head of a channel, being the director news here in the past in PTV as well, what were the basic instructions or values that you adhered to while, for example, doing the 9 p.m. Khabarnama? That is still the hallmark, and that everybody from the hierarchy in the government to the business class to the NGOs watch. What were the basic instructions that you used to give, as far as the editorial team was concerned, as far as the production team was concerned, as far as the anchors are concerned?
To understand this question, one must know that who is the owner of that institution. If Geo is owned by some individual, he will give the policy. ARY will get the policy from his owner. So Pakistan Television ownership lies with the state, but state is the government, because government regulates the state affairs. So whatever the government gives us the policy, Pakistan Television has to follow it, whether it is 1964 or it's a 2023. So it's a consistent, because if we analyze things very clearly, when President Ayub addressed the nation and on television on the inaugural speech, he said that the policy of Pakistan Television will be given by the government of Pakistan. And then Altaf Gohar was the Secretary Information who drafted the charter, and when it was passed and enactment was done from the National Assembly, the words in the National Assembly enactment are in the library. As a researcher, I saw those. Nothing will go on air contrary to the government policies in television, news, current affairs, and in programs. Even in dramas, you have to follow the policy, whatever the government of the
But
day.
Sir Rao, the fact is that the policy is something also that we've adhered to, but this policy has always been that of neutrality as far as the policies are concerned, as far as disseminating information through shows, through news, or through current affair programs is concerned. And we've tried to verify information before we talk about it in news, and I think you know that much better than I do, and so does Tauseeq, because whatever he talks about, whether it be, as Saira put out, climate change or social values or interpersonal relationships, these are things that are current, but at the same time you base all of that on the knowledge that you yourself have acquired through the experience that you've had. I think that is something that PTV still stands for after 59 years, this basic aim to acquire knowledge and then to disseminate it along with the different information that has been provided to you in order to make this channel one of education, information and entertainment. Thank you very much to all three of my guests, Tauseeq, Haider, Munir and Saira Ijaz, to have joined us, and of course to have been part of this beautiful 59th year journey of Pakistan Television. Omar, Khalid and Maheen Jafri bid you farewell. Happy anniversary to Pakistan Television, all of its present, past, and I'm sure a lot of future employees who will be coming here need to understand that Pakistan Television is here to stay and will contribute in the same manner that it has been doing since 1964.
And we hope and we wish that it grows exponentially and it creates more legends. Happy birthday, PTV.
Allah Hafiz.